Today marks 5 years since the duck boat tragedy at Table Rock Lake. 16 passengers and 1 crew member drowned, making it one of the deadliest boating accidents in U.S. history. The Western Taney County Fire District was one of many agencies that responded to the scene that day of the duck boat sinking. Fire Chief Chris Berndt recalls that tragic night as something he and his team will never forget. Color 10's Joshua Pineda live with us in Branson this morning after speaking with the fire chief. Josh.
Chief Berndt tells me that the duck boats are a staple of the Branson community and it would draw in families from all across the country. He says when he received call that the duck boat had sank, it was far worse than he imagined.
We all just knew that everybody's going to be in an orange life jacket. When we got there, it was vastly different.
Chief Berndt says he remembers people trying to climb on the paddle wheels of the Branson Belle, trying to get out of the water, and many people on board the showboat were just trying to help them. Berndt and his team were the first divers on scene to go and look for the remaining missing passengers. After rescuing people from the water, the chief turned the investigation over to the Missouri State Water Patrol because this was going to be a long-term operation and not a simple search and rescue.
For the responders, that was, and still today, it's pretty hard because there was just so much death and so little we could do.
Chief Berndt says it was also a priority to make sure that his team was in the right mental capacity after witnessing such a tragic event, and he continues to do so after every call. Jesse, back to you.
Yeah, it's a day that folks there in the Branson area and really much of the Ozarks will not soon forget. Josh, thanks. And 3 former Ride the Ducks employees are still facing criminal charges. Although last April, a Stone County judge did drop the charges against Captain Kenneth Scott McKee and 2 supervisors, Curtis Lanham and Charles Balsall. But the Missouri Attorney General's office refiled 63 criminal charges against the 3 employees, including involuntary manslaughter and endangering the welfare of a child, resulting in death. Right now, it's unclear when they'll be back in court, but we'll continue to follow all of those cases closely. And continuing our team coverage of the duck boat tragedy, we do want to bring in meteorologist Tom Schmidt now. And Tom, we know the weather played a big part in this. It was very unexpected that day, kind of developed very quickly. Talk to us about how thunderstorms came in that day on the lake.
Yeah, exactly. You know, one of the things we talk about, we say it's unexpected. We say it came without warning, and that's, I hate that term as a meteorologist. And in this case, I mean, looking back at the history, there was plenty of warning, as it turns out. They had the thunderstorm watch was issued at 11 o'clock that morning. And so we knew there were going to be storms that day. We knew it was coming. We knew stuff was happening. By 4 o'clock, we had storms in Kansas coming this way. And so we knew it was coming here. And they had plenty of advance notice. That's what makes this event just so tragic and just so frustrating, is because it all could have been avoided. The warning came out 30 minutes before they were even on the water. And they chose to go out on the water in the middle of the storm. And so the storm itself had 70-mile-an-hour winds. It kicked up a lot of waves, of course. It just kind of rocked the boat, and it really just drowned the boat itself. So the waves were 4 feet high, bashing over the bow, and just basically inundating the boat itself. Waves 4 feet. The highest wind we had was 73 miles an hour.
You see it in that video.
Table Rock Lake. Exactly.
Right there.
It's an intense day, and again, frustrating for a lot of people, and just a tragic day altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see just how severe that was there in that video. A lot of that taken from the showboat Branson Belle.
Oh, yeah.
So this is something we'll continue to follow as far as the legal fallout goes, and we'll continue to track it for you. Tom, thanks for that insight as far as the weather aspect of this. U.S. Senator for Missouri Josh Hawley has sent a letter to the commandant of the U.S. Coast Guard Admiral urging action on duck boat safety regulations. President Joe Biden signed the Duck Boat Safety Act into law last year. The Coast Guard had 6 months to implement the new safety guidelines, but the deadline has passed. In his letter, Hawley says, quote, "This legislation aimed to prevent similar accidents in the future by requiring amphibious vehicles to meet minimum buoyancy requirements, weather preparedness standards, and new canopy regulations. It's critically important that we ensure the safety of all passengers and prevent future accidents." Hawley urges the Coast Guard Admiral for an update of the regulation by August 1st. And as we head to break here on Daybreak, we do want to let you know we have a lot of news to come here in the 6 o'clock hour, but we do want to take a moment to remember the 17 people who lost their lives in that tragic duck boat accident. Color 10 News Daybreak will be right back.